today we're going to be giving a quick presentation on some of the dangers of vaping, since today is Takedown Tobacco Day. I'm Addison Jacobson.
And I'm Joyce O, and today we are here to give you a really short presentation. It's not going to take long. If you're not interested, just go back to what you're doing. If you are interested, look on the board.
Well, like I said, today is April 1st, which is National Takedown Tobacco Day, which is an initiative where we just want to help promote a tobacco-free Louisiana for everybody. And we just want to inform some of y'all about some of the dangers and some of the causes of why tobacco is getting so prominent today.
Okay, so a little bit about ourselves. We are from the Next Era Board, which is a youth organization statewide that kind of is our mission to make sure that we have a clean environment and a tobacco-free Louisiana. Yeah, I got you.
So some of the objectives that we're going to do today are address some of the facts of tobacco and nicotine, who it is targeting, how it is targeting them, some of the side effects, and some of the ways that we can stop the spread of this epidemic, and some of the ways that you yourself can get help for people or yourself.
Okay, so our first objective is facts. What is tobacco?
Okay, well, tobacco contains a really dangerous chemical called nicotine, and it is a cancer-causing chemical, as you may know, and it's most usually associated with cigarettes. And it's also related to nearly 500,000 deaths a year, which is pretty crazy. But one of the things that lots of people don't like to take into consideration is that nicotine is still very prominent in vaping, as it is in cigarettes as well.
So, more facts. So, vapes and cigarettes are more common and similar than you know. One pod in a vape can contain as much nicotine as one carton of cigarettes. So, our objective 2. Who is affected by tobacco? Who does it affect?
Well, it's mainly teenagers and youth, and we're going to go into some of the reasons of why it's more prominent in our grade and some of our levels than it is for other age groups.
So 32% of all Louisiana high school students have at least touched or used a vape that had emitted it. 15% of middle schoolers in Louisiana also have touched or used a vape that has emitted it.
And I think this is one of the really interesting statistics about vaping. So while the smoking cigarettes rate for teenagers and youth was getting to a very, the all-time low, it's the lowest that it's ever been, this is when e-cigarette usage rates were actually shooting up higher than they ever had. And you can see on this graph how in 2019 it has reached its peak use of e-cigarettes, which I think is one of the craziest things, is that they're targeting us specifically because of our nicotine use is going down.
Okay, so our third objective, the techniques they use to target the youth, which is us. The first one is they use these amazing new flavors. They use flavors that range from strawberry flavors to watermelon, from grape to cherry. Any flavor you want, name it, they have it.
Yeah, and that's another crazy thing, is that some people might not even want to use any of these products if they didn't have such easy flavors that wouldn't be so hard to take in. And another thing is the pricing, which I think is another really crazy thing. I read at one of these organizations that really take down all of the pricing for this, is that for the annual cost of vaping, it's at least $300 a year. But at most, it can be about $2,000. Meanwhile, the price for smoking cigarettes, it is about at least $2,000, and at most $5,000. So that is double the price at most, which is pretty crazy, and it also shows you how it's much more convenient to just stick with vaping than it is with cigarettes.
The third reason why it's so convenient is because it's so, why people use it, is because it's so convenient. A vaping is simply a pod, which y'all probably know what vaping consists of, while a cigarette contains an actual pack of cigarettes and you need a lighting to actually use it.
Mm-hmm. And so it's a lot easier to just hit a vape while you're sitting in your room than it is to have to go outside and bring all the things that you need for it. And another thing is the advertising. And I don't know if you've ever actually looked at the advertising that's been used for jewels and all of that, but it's very bright colors, and a lot of the models that they use for these pictures are very young, and it's clearly targeting younger people rather than old people. And you can see here, these are some of the most popular ads that they started using when they were doing jewels. And you can see that it's young adults, and that the colors are very bright. Like, you can see that they're not going to be reaching out to an older audience.
Okay, so our fourth objective are the side effects. Why should people not use vapes or smoking or any use of tobacco? So nicotine affects the body. It affects the heart. It causes increased risk of heart attacks and strokes, as you may know, which probably y'all do. The second one, it affects the lungs, in which return it could cause breathing difficulties.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it affects your stomach, which is one of the more common things that I've seen among people who use vapes. Whenever you hit that in the mornings and you don't have enough food in your system, or you're relying more on that than you're relying on your other nutrients, it causes you to get very nauseous, which can also cause lots of distractions in class or just at your job. And also, one of the most important ones is that it affects your immune system, and it's going to really weaken that, and it's going to make you very susceptible to lots of illnesses, and it can cause a lot more deaths because of how weak your immune system gets whenever you're inhaling so much nicotine.
Okay, so vaping also affects people. The long term, while smoking may cause instant effects, vaping, it takes a really long time to see the side effects, which is a really bad thing, because in the beginning you're thinking, oh, vaping doesn't affect me because I don't see anything. But later on in life, you'll see really severe long-term effects. For example, it could cause severe lung damage, injuries even. It could cause seizures. And it could cause nicotine addiction and poisoning, which my friend Addison over here will tell us why nicotine is so bad.
Okay. Well, while we've gone over some of the physical effects, the mental effects are also really dangerous whenever it comes to nicotine usage and smoking. It can cause, the main big cause is that it's going to slow down your development rate and all of the just important functions that you need as you're growing into a young adult. It can slow down your attention, your memory, your concentration, self-control, and your learning, which can be a big problem when you're in a learning environment as we are.
Okay, so our fifth objective, and our last, is ways to prevent the use of tobacco. I know it's not really practical to say we could stop tobacco because it's still hard to stop it, but there might be ways that we could try to prevent the use of it.
Okay, so the first three ways could be therapy, and whether this is more for the physical side, as in needing to wean off of nicotine with patches, or if it's more of a mental thing, where you need to notice why you are smoking and you just need some help in fighting against that urge to smoke. And of course, physical activities. I myself run, and I can say that it releases lots of endorphins, and just having lots of exercise helps a lot of time, and it saves you a lot of time, and it just helps you just get a clearer mind than when you're focused on other things. And as well, just simply relaxing, listening to music, reading, yoga, any of those things are a really big help whenever it comes to fighting those urges and wanting to stop tobacco usage.
Okay, so the fourth tip in stopping smoking is to avoid triggers. First, you want to identify what triggers you. It can range from even smelling the smoke from smokers or even seeing one. You want to avoid them to make sure that you're safe in a safe environment where no smokers or smoking things trigger you. The fifth way to stop it is to stay healthy. Like your mom said, eat your vegetables and eat your fruit. If you have a healthy mind and healthy body, then you have like the feeling like, oh, since I have this healthy body, I want to stay away from vaping and stay away from the bad things that affect my lungs and stomach and immune systems. The fourth, last one is the sixth one is support. Maybe it's support to have support. If you want to stop vaping, smoking, or even the use of tobacco, never do it alone. You want to use your friends, your family, something with a strong pillar to support you through these hard times. So, how to make a change?
Yeah. So whether it's stopping with yourself with using any nicotine products, or you're helping others, you are going to be the person that makes that change. And as for and you might be thinking, well, what about the big picture? It might seem kind of pointless to stop doing this whenever things are just seeming to get worse, and this epidemic of using nicotine is getting worse. But some of the ways are joining programs such as these and just trying your best to reach out and inform the public and the community of the actual dangers that they aren't realizing about vaping, smoking, and the use of tobacco. As well, talking to important decision makers. And this can seem like a really daunting task, but whenever you get a group together and you'll discuss ideas for just kind of preventing this usage, and you come together, talk to school boards or lawmakers, this is going to be a really big process in getting these tobacco products out of our state. And then, of course, just going out and, once again, speaking to people, whether that's seeing people who are vaping or wanting to help a family member who is. It's a very big deal whenever it comes down to actually talking to these people. You have to have that initiative.
You can also join programs like Next Era Board, like we do. Next Era is like a branch of AHEC, which probably all of you know because Dr. Austin emails you daily about AHEC. And so it's just a good opportunity for y'all to come and join this to make sure that the next generation of like your kids, your grandkids grow up in an environment where you don't have to worry about if their lungs are affected, if their immune system are bad, if they're caught in diseases or illnesses. It's just better. Okay, so up on the board you can see we listed some resources, some like quitting smoking apps, some phone lines, websites. If you want to take them home to somebody, or if you yourself are interested, we don't judge. And this is it. So thank you for listening to our presentation.